By now, you know that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and no matter where you stand on the political spectrum or how you feel about Charlie Kirk, you should be appalled because political violence is unacceptable on any side from anyone in any manner or any fashion. And thank God Nancy Mace is saying something about it.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today. I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. All the kids of every conservative in the country call panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota? Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm asking
We
a
don't
serious
know
question.
what condition Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic put a bullet through his neck, and you want to talk about Republicans right now? No.
No, I'm asking
not
you.
at all.
You said the Democrats have to own it too. But I'm asking,
Democrats own this.
But isn't there a problem with
this.
political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now. Democrats own this 100%.
What the hell? She's just blaming the Democrats? We don't know who did it yet, but she's just going to blame the Democrats. By the time this video comes out, we might know who did it and what their motive was. But this is a political issue. This is a dangerous issue that affects both sides. And what's hypocritical is whenever something happens to someone on the Democratic side, they mock them.
Well, stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
There you go, the leader of the Republicans mocking Paul Pelosi, rather than taking a moment and saying, hey, this is not right, political violence is not right, was just mocking him. And then look at how he talked about Liz Cheney.
And I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter, but his daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
Once again, you can disagree with someone, but you don't bring up this image of shooting at her. And he knows what he's doing. He's riling up his base. And we all know there's unstable people out there that would listen to him and act on it. But he doesn't care, and neither does Jesse Waters.
They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And that's the question we're just going to have to ask ourselves. Now, Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible. Dana nailed it. This is unacceptable and has to stop. And it has to stop now. And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what. The politicians, and the media, and all these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now. Greg's right again. This is a turning point, and we know which direction we're going.
There you go. Jesse Waters on Fox wanting vengeance and trying to rile people up rather than actually calming people down. Most sane people would not want anyone on either side to be killed. But there's a lot of unstable people that are doing these things, and people like Jesse Waters talking about vengeance does not help. Now watch as Greg Gutfeld kind of struggles with this.
It's interesting. We don't know who did this, but I do know it doesn't help the left, which makes me think, is it the left? I don't know. We don't know, but it feels professional. That's all it feels to me,
So there he is. He's thinking it out. He's like, it could be someone that was on the right trying to set up the left. It could be a professional. It could be someone. We don't know. We don't know. And again, by the time this video comes out, we might know. And even if their intention was that there's someone on the left, if they're on the left, again, most people on the left do not support this. Most people on the right would not support violence against someone on the left. But these pundits and these politicians keep escalating it rather than de-escalating. And unfortunately, Charlie Kirk himself, you've seen this clip probably, but watch him as he talks about gun deaths.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.
So there you have it. It's all very, very unfortunate. This guy had 2 kids, had a wife, he had a life. He was 31 years old. It should not have happened. It shouldn't have happened to the Democratic politicians in Minnesota. It shouldn't have happened to the Charleston church in 2015, the black church. Shouldn't have happened to the synagogue in Pittsburgh in 2019. Or was it 2017? Shouldn't have happened to the Walmart in El Paso, to the Latinos. And why did it happen to those other minority groups? Because people on the right have demonized minorities. So when the people on the left, like Nancy Mace, say this is because of the Democrats, again, it's very hypocritical. And it's avoiding one of the main issues. Whether you're a gun owner or not, let's admit it, America is one of the worst when it comes to gun deaths, in total gun deaths. Definitely when it comes to Western nations and gun deaths, we are in bad shape. And because we have so many guns. And again, if you're a responsible gun owner, you should want some gun control. We should want some limitations on who can get guns. We should want some limitations on registrations. And that argument that Charlie had made at the end where he says, you got to have your guns to defend yourself when the government comes to get you. The government has jet fighters. They have tanks. If they wanted to come get you, they would get you. Matter of fact, they are getting you. They've sent ICE after all the brown people. And you think the brown people are able to defend themselves against this militarized unit of Homeland Security? No, it's just ludicrous. And what's even more ludicrous is politicians like Nancy Mace do nothing about it. They come up with all kinds of excuses. It's not the guns, it's mental health. Oh, it's mental health? Then why are the Republicans cutting $1 billion of funding that was supposed to go towards mental health? Why are they cutting that? Why are we, as Charlie Kirk said, is it because you just need to have fathers in the house? Many of these people have had fathers. A lot of mass shooters have had fathers and mothers, and they didn't see it coming. Matter of fact, sometimes they use the guns of the father. That's the fact. So the only thing that is consistent with all of the mass shootings is that the guns are accessible to people. Now, in this case, again, I don't know. By the time this video comes out, we'll know more. The guy appears to have been some sort of, sharpshooter or something because he shot from a distance. So maybe he was in the military, which, by the way, we have the biggest military in the world, and we spend more and more money on it every year. And we train killers, and then we get surprised when they come back and they have some sort of mental health breakdown and they go on shooting sprees. It's just unbelievable. It's illogical. And to point the finger and say, oh, this was the Democrats. No, this is the Congress and the politicians and the president and all of them not wanting to do anything to upset gun rights, to upset gun owners, to upset the gun lobby, to upset the people who think that somehow they're going to use their guns to defend themselves when the U.S. Army shows up at their door. It is ludicrous and ridiculous. And Nancy Mace should be ashamed of herself for not coming. She should have come out and said, look, this is an atrocious act because it was. This is a tragedy because it is. And let's see what happens. And by the way, if they do find that the guy had leftist ideology, once again, that doesn't mean that all the people on the left are saying, oh, we should do this. No. Again, people on the left, most people on the left, most sane people on the left want to de-escalate. We saw what escalation does, at least to January 6th, where you have a mob of people storming the Capitol and beating police and leading to the deaths of some police officers. So we see what escalation does. And in this case, rather than de-escalating and saying, look, this is an issue and a problem that we need to wake up to. That same time that Charlie Kirk was shot right there in Utah, there was a shooting in a school in Colorado, in a high school in Colorado. And 3 people, thank God, did not die, but they were injured. I think it was 3, maybe it was more. We had that other shooting just a couple weeks ago in that church where the kids in Minnesota were praying. And then they said, send the prayers thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers don't do anything. The mayor of Minneapolis said it. He said these kids were literally praying when they were shot. And so you tell me what the issue is. What's the issue? It's mental health? Is it because, the government's doing so much? Let's look at it that way. How much has the government done to help stop and de-escalate political violence, to de-escalate gun deaths? How much has the government done? Zip. Zero. Every once in a while they get together and pass some kind of, weak little legislation to be able to say, look, we did something, and nothing ever comes of it because they have too much, they bow down too much to the gun rights. This whole thing of the gun rights is just silly, silly, silly. Most gun owners want to have gun owners be regulated to some extent. They want common sense gun laws because most gun owners are responsible. They use it for defense. They use it for hunting. They use it for sport or whatever it is. They use it for target practice. But that's most gun owners. But when you end up with people that have multiple guns that have been trained, you're going to end up in situations like this. You had the kid just this past week. The kid in Houston was doorbell ditching in Houston, 11-year-old kid. And some guy walks out from his house and he shoots the kid. And then they find out that the guy had a whole arsenal of weapons. So you tell me, what's the issue? What's the issue? And why isn't this happening in Japan? Why isn't this happening in England? Why isn't this happening in Australia? Why isn't this happening in most other developed nations? Yes, they have violence. There's violence everywhere. Yes, there are guns. There's guns everywhere. Why isn't it happening in Switzerland, where they have one of the most highest gun ownership per capita in the world? But they are regulated, they are taught, they're trained to use them the way they're supposed to be used. And I believe they must have ways to keep it out of the hands of people who are unstable. That's the one thing you have to always remember. Whoever goes to the extent of actually shooting and killing somebody is unstable mentally. They've snapped and they've gotten to a point where they've decided to do something like this. And of course, words have meaning. So when Donald Trump goes up and says, hey, makes fun of Paul Pelosi, or when Donald Trump goes up and says, the left is Marxists and he calls them libtards and they're woke and all this other stuff. You think those things don't provoke people? A lot of these people that have done mass shootings have manifestos that go with the far right. When Donald Trump says that immigrants are hurting the blood of our people, when Donald Trump says that immigrants are eating cats and dogs, you don't think any of that stuff causes somebody to go do a mass shooting against the Latinos in El Paso, Texas, or all the conspiracies against Jews? You don't think that has anything to do with somebody going and shooting the synagogue? These people are unstable, and they're going to listen to their leaders, and their leaders say a lot of toxic stuff. That's not to say that the left does not also use name-calling when they are, again, maybe against somebody like Charlie Kirk. I'm sure there was people on the left saying things about him and his ideology that might have, gotten into the mind of the wrong person that led to something like this. Of course, people can go down a rabbit hole on either side. And that's why, once again, what Nancy Mace did was disgraceful. She should not escalate it. What Jesse Waters is doing is disgraceful. Do not escalate. If we're really Americans, we should be able to coexist. We don't need to agree on everything. Most of the stuff that Charlie Kirk said, I disagreed with. But there's no reason why somebody should lose their life over that. That's the whole point of America, is that we're able to talk and debate, and then you win in the polling box. You go vote. You go make a difference in your community. But to do this, obviously this person is mentally unstable. And again, I'm making this video right now. I don't know if we'll know who it is by the time it comes out. But once again, I'm sure that the ideology, whatever the ideology is, it doesn't even matter. Like, who cares what the ideology is? Politicians should not be escalating it. And Nancy Mace should be ashamed of escalating it by starting out right away, just jumping on it and going, this is the Democrats. What? Do something about the gun laws. Do something. Don't tell me to put more armed guards in front of. Charlie Kirk had guards there. The church, they were in a church. Uvalde, they had police show up and just stand around for an hour. A good guy with a gun does not stop a bad guy with a gun. What we need to do is we need to definitely do some internal thinking. People, again, hold your Congress members responsible to this. Don't vote for them if they're not making changes that are making your life safer. When we were kids, we didn't have all these gun drills in schools. We didn't have any of that stuff. And yet, here we are because our politicians aren't doing anything about that. They're not doing anything about immigration. They're not doing anything about anything except taking away health care from the poor, taking away meals from students in schools, and giving billionaires tax breaks. That's what they're doing. So once again, I hope you do some research and hold your local Congress member, senator responsible and call them up and say, we need some gun regulations. Even if you're a gun owner, I'm a gun owner, you say, I'm a gun owner and I want regulations because you know that you are not going to do something like this. But we all know that there's a lot of mental health problems in this country. And by the way, when you're on that call, let your members of Congress know, why is the administration cutting $1 billion from mental health funding? Why are they cutting so much from any kind of assistance to people that need it? Ask them that. Guys, it's a heavy week. I hope if you have children or whatever, just your loved ones, hug them more. And again, this should not have happened. All right. Bye.